Today's lesson is how to change the skybox and the ambient or background environmental light. So we're going to switch our maps over to nighttime, and I think we'll leave this map at night for now, and we can switch them later. But for now, I want to work in a nighttime environment just so that we can kind of get a handle on lighting and all that stuff. It looks nice when it's dark. And so we're going to switch our maps over to a nighttime skybox and then also a nighttime environmental light. So the first thing I want you to do before we do anything in the editor is we need to go to a web page that has a list of all of the default skyboxes that are available to us. So I'm going to have you minimize your map, open up a browser window. So I don't care what browser you're going to use. And I want you to search for Valve Developer Sky List. Okay, so Valve Developer Sky List. Hit enter. And depending on if you're using Bing or DuckDuckGo or Google or whatever, this should be near the top of your search. It should say Sky List Valve Developer Community. So if we click on that, it takes us to this web page right here. So these are all the skyboxes that exist in Valve's games. Now for simplicity, we are only going to use the skies from Half-Life 2 in this lesson. Now if you want to experiment with the different Left 4 Dead skies, you can. I'm just not sure if they'll work within what we're doing here, and I haven't tested them in this lesson. So we are only going to use the skies from Half-Life 2 for the lesson. So I know they work with what we're doing, and so that's what we're going to use. If you want to experiment with any of these other ones, you're welcome to. But for this lesson, we're going to use only Half-Life 2. So I'm going to click on Half-Life 2 here, and it's going to take me to this list. Now when you scroll down, you need to pay attention because it says Half-Life 2 here. Official games Half-Life 2, and if I scroll down, it's going to eventually change to Half-Life 2 Episode 1, and if I keep scrolling down, Half-Life 2 Lost Coast. So if you scroll past Half-Life 2, you're going to end up in these other skies, which we might be able to use later, but for right now I want to stick to just the original Half-Life 2 skies. And if you want to play around with some of the other ones at another time, that's fine. But we are going to use, in the Half-Life 2 section, we're going to scroll down to where it says Sky Day 01 underscore 09. We're going to use this one to start with, right? So now that we have this information, let's go ahead and open our editor back up. And we're going to click on Map. And we're going to go to Map Properties. Right? And it's going to select your entire map. Everything's going to turn red. And you're going to get this window right here. Object Properties. Everything in your map is selected. So be careful. Don't grab and move anything because you'll move the entire map. What we're looking for is this line right here that says Skybox Texture Name, right? And you'll notice I've already changed it. But we need to get the name from the skybox that we want to use. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to highlight Sky Day 01 underscore 09. Copy it. And then we're going to go back and we're going to paste it into this box right here. So we're going to click on Skybox Texture Name, and then we're going to paste, or you can Control V, or you can right click and paste, whatever works for you. But we're going to paste it right into that box. It has to be exact. If you put a space in there, or if you put a space right here, or you put an O instead of a 0, it's not going to work. It has to be exactly this right here. So that's why I copy and paste it. It prevents any mistakes on my part. I'm going to click apply. So now we've changed the skybox. Now with the skybox comes a different environmental light. So your environmental light is all the light in the world that you get when you're outside, or it also sets your ambient light, which would be like how dark it is when there's no other light sources. So if you like go in a room and close a door, and there's no windows or anything, how dark and what color is that light going to be? So that's what we're going to set now, is we're going to put in an object called an environmental light. So we're going to go to our entity tool. We're going to go to the other side, category, entities, and the object you're looking for is called a light environment. So if you come in here and type in light, you should see the third one down is light environment. You're going to select that, and then you're going to drop one of those into your map. And it's going to look like this guy right here, this little Teletubby sun looking thing. All right. Yours won't be green, blue, whatever color that is, but we'll change it. Okay. So this is our world light. This is the light that's in the world. Okay. So again, to put this guy in, and you can only have one of these. I can't have more than one. We're going to only have one. So I'm going to go to my entity tool. I'm going to go to the other side over here. I've got entities, light environment, and I drop that in. So I click somewhere and it drops this guy. Now I usually pick a spot on my map where things like my environmental lights and other like global things. There's entities that set like, AI and a few other things. And they're sort of global. They, like this light here affects the entire map. So you don't have to put it up in the sky or anything. So I usually pick like one spot on my map where I put all these objects that don't really have a home. And you'll see we do other ones throughout the process of building the map. So I just picked like right out in front of my house on the ground. That's where I'm going to put my environmental light. And then later on, when we start doing other things like AI controllers and things, we'll just put them all right in this one pile of entities. So I'm never hunting up in the sky trying to figure out where did I put the environmental light. So I pick a spot on my map, because you can't see this in the game. This guy's invisible. So just find a spot on your map where you're not going to lose it if you want to come back and adjust this later on. All right. So my light environment. Now I'm going to take my selection tool, double click on this guy, and you're going to get this box. All right. Now yours isn't going to have these colors in it yet because I've already done mine. So where we get this information to set the light values for this is from that web page we were just at. So let's go back to the web page. All right. So under Sky Day 0109, this is what it looks like. It's a night sky with the moon kind of peeking out of some clouds here. And then we've got these two settings underneath it. And so what this is telling me the maps that Valve used it on, and these are all the settings for it. All right, so we only really need these two right here. We don't need to worry about these just yet. But, or actually these four is what we're going to mess with. So now you're only going to pick one line across here. So you'll notice this particular sky was used in this map and this map. So two different levels. And you'll notice that the colors are slightly different. This one's a little darker. And actually this is slightly darker based on this last number right here. So same sky, but this map right here, background 03, D1 town 01, this map was a little bit darker than Eli 02, which is this map right here. And if you look through all these different skies, you'll see some of them have a single map that they were used on, while others, like this Day 0105 here, it was used on a whole bunch of different maps, and they all have a slightly different variance on the color that they used during that map. All right, so let's go back to ours, Sky Day 0109. So let's use this second one here. So this first column here after the name of the map where it says 0, 12, 0. What that is, if we scroll up to the top, it says ideal sun angle. So what these three numbers are telling me is it's called pitch, yaw, and roll. So if you think of an airplane can go left, right, up, down, or it can kind of twist, which is yaw. And so what pitch, yaw, and roll give us is the angle of where the light in the sky is. So in this case, it's moon. But on other maps, like in this map here, this would be the angle of the sun. So for this map, these numbers right here, 0, 12, 0, represent up in the sky the angle that the moon is at. So I'm going to go back to my map, and where it says pitch, yaw, roll, this first line here, I'm going to put in 0, space, 12, space, 0, and click apply. So that's the pitch, yaw, roll, the X, Y, Z axis of where in the sky the moon or the sun is going to be at. Now we'll go back to the web page. This next column is the sun pitch. So this is kind of like the above the horizon angle for the sun. So if we look here, it's -45. So I'm going to go back to my map. I'm going to click on pitch. I'm going to put in -45. Click apply. Go back to the web page. And I have two sets of color here. So I'm just going to highlight it. Make sure you get the whole thing. I'm going to copy it. So this first column is brightness. So I'm going to go back to my map, click on brightness, and I'm going to paste that value into the block. Going to apply, go back to the web page. This next column is ambience. So what this is the light that's in the world when there's no other light. So this is like the darkest dark that your map can be. Excuse me. So this would be if you go into a room and you close the door, there's no lights, there's no windows. This is the darkness that it's going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and copy it. Go back to my map. Go to ambient right here. And I'm going to paste that value in. Click apply. And that's all we need for right now. We're not going to worry about the HDR or anything. This will give me my sky that I need. So I'm going to click apply, close that, and then let's go ahead and run my map. This is all good. Click OK. Should compile fairly quickly. And it's going to give me an error because my map's already running. Alright, let me reload my map. Okay, so there's the nighttime sky, so it's no longer daytime in my map. And I'll kind of smash through some stuff here. Let's go out front. Alright, so here's my upstairs. It's pretty dark up here. Go outside. Okay. Now, if I look up in the sky, there's the moon, and then here's something interesting to pay attention to is there's the moon, which would be my light source, and look at the direction these shadows are being cast, because even at night you can still have shadows, right? Because we have moonlight coming down. So, so the shadow direction is derived from those pitch, yaw, and roll numbers we put in. So when I look at the moon here, this side of the building is nice and dark. And if I run around to the other side, and remember this darkness here is controlled by that ambient color. So this is really nice and dark. And if I come around to the other side, see that I've got moonlight on this side of the building, so it's fairly bright. And then if I come around the back side, so this side is fully engulfed in the moonlight right there. But then notice around the corner, because it's not in a direct moonlight, it's a little bit darker, right? You can really see it right here. You can see that there's a little bit of a shadow on this side. So this is direct moonlight on the back side of the house. A little bit of shadow on this side. But then if I run around to all the way to the other side, now on this side, it's really dark because there's no direct moonlight over here. So when I'm in the shadows here, this is pretty dark. And then on the inside of the house, where there's no moonlight at all, if I go upstairs, so this is really dark because there's no light up here at all. This is the color of that ambient, and I think it has a brightness of 5 is the color that I use. So it's really dark up there. Or if you open up like bathrooms and stuff and I go in here, it's a little bit darker in here. It's a little brighter than I'd like. I'm probably leaking a little bit of light through the door. All right? Okay, so your objective today, set your map into darkness, a nighttime sky, and send me a screenshot of your nighttime map.